First up, John Anderson is president of the US National Academy of Engineering, where he's been a fellow since 1992. Previously, he was distinguished professor of chemical engineering and president of the Illinois Institute of Technology. And before that, provost of Case Western Reserve University and dean of Carnegie Mellon University's College of Engineering. Please welcome on stage John Anderson.
To me, the world has always been unpredictable, but it's a different time scale. So things are happening faster, and that's really what we're talking about here. And the world is smaller, so what happens in one part of the world affects the other part. There's an old saying that change is certain, but improvement is optional. So we want improvement, and that's what the summit. One of the reasons we have the summits. Innovation is an inherently human activity, but it's a double-edged sword that almost all innovations carry with them some kind of risk. We were talking today about artificial intelligence and the kinds of things that might go bad as well as go well. I'll give you an example. I'm a chemical engineer, and a good example is chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs. These were outstanding materials that replaced ammonia and other nasty chemicals in refrigeration systems and saved the lives of hundreds, or thousands and tens of hundreds of thousands of people by keeping food cool. But then we found out that even though they don't hurt human beings on Earth, when they go in the outer atmosphere, they break down ozone, and we get something called the ozone hole, and it affects climate and ultraviolet radiation penetration. Another example, CO2. How many people thought that CO2 would be a problem when we started with carbon-based fuels over 100 years ago? But now we have to worry about that. So we cannot always see the dangerous side of innovation. We see the good side at the beginning. But risks have to be taken, and we have to, as engineers, try to anticipate the negatives. To me, these summits have 2 points to them that I hope the students understand. One is that there's a social dimension to engineering. Engineering is never successful on its own. It has to involve the social interactions and the welfare of human beings. And I think the younger people understand that. The second is it's global now. Engineering is not done in an isolated environment in one country, in one part of one country, but across the world. So these two things, I think, have been demonstrated in the last 5 days with the students here in the Grand Challenges Summit. I want to congratulate the students. 5 days is a long time to stick with this, and they've done it very well. I understand tomorrow we're going to hear reports from the collaborative laboratories. So you've done a really good job. And of course, it's the students who are here who are going to solve the problems we're talking about today. So we're in your hands, and we're in very good hands. I'd like to finish with a quote made by a race car driver named Mario Andretti. He's an Italian race car driver, won many races. And he said the following: if you're too comfortable, you're not going fast enough. So my advice to you is don't get too comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you, John. We are actually working on a telepathy technology, so you won't need microphones in the future. Maybe it'll be ready for tomorrow. Next up is Dr. Zhou Ji, the immediate past president of the Chinese Academy of Engineering. Over the course of an illustrious career, he's been president of Hong University, mayor of Wuhan, and China's Minister of Education. And under his stewardship, the Chinese Academy of Engineering became a highly valued think tank, worked closely with the Chinese government to provide strategic advice on priority issues such as urbanization, energy innovation, and advanced manufacturing policy. Please welcome on stage Dr. Zhou Ji.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today is a day full of passion and visions from how to address global grand challenges. Young students and prominent speakers presented their valuable insights on the implementation of AI and other transformational technologies to this unpredictable world, which were very enlightening. As mentioned by Dame and Doreen this morning, inspiring the next generation is the heart of this year's summit. So I want to say some more words to the youth. Today, we have the largest world youth community in history. Today's youth has more information, greater opportunities, and a better future than any previous generation. Youth is the age with the richest dream and the most dynamic. The combination of their dynamism create active, active and idealism will form a great force to promote the development of a human society and to address the global grand challenges. Engineering will play a leading role in solutions to address global challenges and achieve sustainable development. This requires more young people to dedicate themselves to engineering and technology development. We are pleased to see that China has a considerable proportion of excellent young students willing to engage in engineering. It is hoped that young people from other countries of the world, especially in developed countries, are more likely to choose to engage in engineering and work together to tackle the global challenges through engineering solutions. Young people cannot solve the global grand challenges without international cooperation and inclusive development. I'm glad to see hundreds of young students from around the world coming to London to participate in today's summit and the collaboration lab a few days earlier. This event is one of the joint efforts of engineering academies of the UK, the USA, and China to promote international cooperation and inclusive development for youth. Here, I would like to cite a quote of Chairman Mao Zedong, the very first leader of the People's Republic of China. who place special hopes on the youth. He said to the young students, "The world is yours, and is also ours. But in the end, it belongs to you. You young people, full of vigor and vitality, like the sun at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning. Hope rests on you." Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, I'd like to introduce Mike Mansergh, Director of Strategic Engagement at Lockheed Martin UK. Mike, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Mike Mansergh, and I work for Lockheed Martin in the United Kingdom. And it's an enormous privilege for Lockheed Martin to be a founding funder sponsoring the Global Grand Challenges Summit this year, supporting 3 great institutions: the Royal Academy of Engineering, the Chinese Academy of Engineering, and the United States Academy of Engineering. Lockheed Martin is delighted to have supported this summit for a number of years and is passionate about being able to help this event. As a company that prides itself in investing in engineering skills and developing technologies and solutions to ensure a sustainable future for our environment, our governments, and our global society. With 60% of Lockheed Martin employees qualified in engineering, we understand how important it is to invest in and encourage all of you and us with our young people to work together to address the challenges of our world. With, for the young, your radical range of highly innovative ideas, working to achieve sustainable development goals through the collaboration of 3 great engineering academies. And we have all seen such energy and enthusiasm over the past few days as our youngsters address key challenges we all face in this complex world of ours. Some of Lockheed Martin's young engineers have been helping in this year's summit. They belong to a team of around 2,000 employees working in the United Kingdom, the UK-based arm of Lockheed Martin Corporation. We have operated in this country for over 80 years, currently at 22 locations, and we support 20,000 jobs in our direct supply chain. With engineering activities ranging from mail sorting technologies, more than 25% of the world's letter mail is sorted by Lockheed Martin, to helping build the United Kingdom's first commercial spaceport. Our innovations and partnerships help solve some of the world's most complex challenges, contributing to the security and prosperity of the world and making real ideas like those that have been wrestled with in this summit. In the audience and afterwards at the reception, with energetic young minds, there are a number of brilliant, slightly older minds, of individuals who have devoted their lives to next-generation technologies, pushing the boundaries of creativity. Later this evening is an ideal opportunity for all of us to engage with each other, to be inquisitive, and to share ideas. The elder generation, I think, will be fairly obvious, but they will be wearing badges saying who they are. So please talk to them ask them their views, and learn together in a shared purpose as people, young and old, who can make a real difference to the sustainability of our planet. On behalf of Lockheed Martin, thank you for your participation in this exceptionally important, exciting, and inspiring event. And I hope we all enjoy a very productive evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. We have one final speaker. I'm very happy to introduce Caroline Fricke Mantoura, who's Director of Global Strategy and Sustainability at Accenture. Please welcome Caroline.
I'm glad to see some of you are still here. That's good. To keep us in a room, I can't see what's going on. I am the last person between you and your drinks. Good evening, everyone. My name is Caroline Fricke Mantoura, and as an Accenture strategist, I am so proud that we are supporting the GGCS 2019. What a remarkable day it has been, wouldn't you agree? I have had the distinct pleasure of chatting to students out in the hallways. I have been listening to the exceptional talent represented on the panels throughout the course of the day. And I've also had a really great opportunity to meet with some fellow business leaders talking about how we are driving engineering solutions for an unpredictable world. We've talked a lot today about the role of technology, the transformational impacts it can have, the positive benefit it can have in improving lives of individuals in the way that we live and work. And that means a lot to me because the Accenture mission is actually around improving the way the world lives and works. So it's really close to my heart. We've talked a lot about the application of artificial technology, or pardon me, artificial intelligence, and other transformational technologies. And tomorrow, we're going to change tack a little bit. I'm starting my day at the Thought Leadership Breakfast, where we'll be discussing specifically the topic of delivering sustainable living places. And actually, I used to be a mechanical engineer, and I used to work at Arup. And it's pretty much an education in sustainable development itself. So I'm really, really excited to join in that discussion, because it's not the kind of thing I get to do these days. But I'm also excited that our UK lead, Peter Lacey, will be presenting on a panel tomorrow afternoon as well on the same topic. And he will be sharing some of his insights around the opportunity provided by the circular economy. He'll also talk about adaptive infrastructure, and also how and where the design principles of the systems that we use today will need to change in order to deliver the needs of 10 billion people in an unpredictable world. I'm just going to take a second just to kind of speak to the students that are still in the room, hopefully. It really is hard to see you guys here. Great, good, good. Having studied engineering an unmentionable number of years ago, I envy you. Right? Even now, I've been at Accenture for 10 years, and since I've been there, I joined at a business school, actually. And students join us now out of university as new analysts, and they've studied things like climate change, policy, technology, advanced sustainable development technology, whatever it might be. Those are courses that didn't even exist when I was at university. So I was jealous of those guys 10 years ago. Now I'm jealous of you guys coming out of university with all sorts of super cool AI, machine learning, et cetera, et cetera. It is absolutely your time. And also the discussion we held earlier today about the use and application of these sorts of technologies in solving specifically sustainable development goals, amazing. It's just the best time to be out here. And I remember distinctly standing, again, a long time ago, in the room, in the office of my structural mechanics professor. And he said, Caroline, have you considered Unilever? I said, okay. Keep going, Mr. Forbes, what do you mean? Unilever, Caroline, has tremendous challenges with chicken. Right, carry on, okay. He said, moving frozen chickens across a production line is actually extremely difficult, and they need mechanical engineers as talented as you to help them figure out what to do about it. Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Forbes, but even then I knew that I wanted to deliver solutions to bigger problems. the kinds of problems that were really going to improve the way that the world lives and works. I could not bring myself to join some of my compatriots, for example, and forgive me for those in the room who do this, in the oil and gas industry or in automotive, despite how much I love fast cars and love driving fast. I couldn't do it. I didn't want to be part of a system that brought finite resources out of the ground and then basically set them on fire. I couldn't do it. I wanted to do something else in my life. But interestingly, look where we are now, years later. The oil and gas industry is completely facing disruption. We talk about the energy transition, and Shell, one of the biggest oil and gas companies on the planet, has just recently bought its first utility. It's a massive change for a company like that. The automotive industry, we talked about it a bit earlier today, completely disrupted by advances in battery technology and, of course, business models around sharing. And then Unilever, who just last week announced that they're now sourcing 100% of their electricity from renewable sources on 5 continents. That is an unimaginable achievement that we could not have thought or foreseen the unimaginable number of years ago. I nearly said it. Oh. We heard earlier today that, we were reminded that language is a uniquely human quality, something we have, and only we have it. But I was thinking about it, and actually, I think there's a number of other qualities that we have that are uniquely human. Our creativity, our ingenuity, and our sense of responsibility. And I know, I'm not a career engineer, but I was one for 7 years. I know that those qualities are absolutely core to being a good engineer. And even now, they have served me well in the past 10 years in my career as a strategist at Accenture. As Peter Drucker, the management guru, said, the thing about knowledge work is it's never been done before. You've got to spend time figuring out how to solve these really difficult problems. And it's how you go about it. You bring your tool set, your knowledge, your background, and all this new stuff that's coming through, and you bring that to the fore. So as you go out into the world after your degrees, just keep your eyes open. What is the global grand challenge that you guys want to solve? Go after it with all that you have and all that you are. The future isn't written. Your future is not written. Stick to your values. Whatever you do, you will find your way to the right place. And now I would ask that you find your way to the networking drinks.
And who could disagree with that as a farewell message? So I feel the day may have finished, but the conversations, the connections are only just beginning. And that's why we've arranged an evening of activities to do some more. Now, if you follow the team out of this building and next door to the Royal Festival Hall, we'll be hosting a next generation reception in the 5th floor function room. And then at 6:30 p.m., 2 associated events are going to start on the roof pavilions. In the western roof pavilion, there'll be an exhibition of some of the most impressive research projects funded by the UK's Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council, the EPSRC, directed at solving global challenges. And then in the St. Paul's Roof Pavilion, there'll be a discussion curated by the Royal Academy of Engineering's policy team on what autonomous systems will mean for our future. So don't worry about getting lost. We have lots of friendly summit hosts who will direct you to where you need to be. And students, remember that dinner will be served for you back here in the main foyer of the Queen Elizabeth Hall from 7:30 p.m. So if drinks and canapes and heavy conversation isn't enough sustenance for you, you know where to come. Now, if you're an early bird, or you have an entrepreneurial energy, or you're very jet-lagged, there's an early opportunity for you tomorrow morning. The summit kicks off at 8:20 a.m. with a special session in the Purcell Room on engineering entrepreneurship. And we've got an amazing group of chief executives, venture capitalists, business development managers. That's a conversation not to miss if you like the idea of growing or starting a business. For the rest of you, you have a tiny bit of a lie-in, but not very much. I'm going to be back in this room with the plenary session that starts sharp at 9 a.m. tomorrow. But all that's left for me is to thank you for your engagement, your presence, your interest, your lively questions. And I'm looking forward to another excellent day of conversations tomorrow. And I'm going to leave you, just before we go, with a final video from the Royal Academy of Engineering's This Is Engineering campaign, showing some exceptional young people pursuing their passion into engineering.